Hello everyone, it's Oliver Harper here, and I'm back with Rob Hill, aka the Bad Movie Bible, for a commentary to Demolition Man. So Rob, are you a Taco Bell or Pizza Hut man?
I'm Taco Bell.
You're the US Cut man, aren't you? I'm an
Well,
international Cut man.
well, are you? Because I've only through researching this did I realise that the international version was ever released in the UK. Because I've never seen any mention of Pizza Hut in Demolition Man.
Yeah, the UK tape had it.
The
VHS release.
well, mine didn't, which is what I was confused about. So I looked it up, and every reference I've found so far says that when it was released on video in the UK, it was the Taco Bell version because it was English language. It was only foreign language European countries that got the Pizza Hut version. Apparently, that's what I've read.
Well, now on the Arrow video release they put out, they includes the Pizza Hut edit.
That's the first time according to trivia, that's the first time the Pizza Hut version has ever been released on home video in the UK. The Arrow version has both versions.
And it's got awkward dubbing over it as well, with the actors, but you can tell it's
I've seen the clips of the Pizza Hut references, but I've never seen a Pizza Hut version of the movie.
Oh, okay, okie dokie. Okay, folks, well, if you wish to sync this audio commentary with your own copy of the film on Blu-ray, put the timestamp to 0 and press play now. In the 90s, when this film was coming out, or kind of announced in the magazines, I think they had already announced, like, because things travel slower in magazines, right, in terms of movie news, and being a young teenager, I swear they had announced Judge Dredd first, and then suddenly I saw in the magazines, like as probably a video game magazine, that Demolition Man was coming out, and you saw Stallone posing with the car of the future, and I was like, this can't be Judge Dredd. What is this?
Yeah.
So I was a bit baffled, but when they did eventually come out, it was the movie to rent at the time. Everyone was kind of desperate to see it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it as a young teenager, and it's always kind of stuck with me. I've always gone back to it. I've never tired of Demolition Man. I think it's
no, absolutely not. It's clearly the stronger Sly Stallone, Rob Schneider team up of the decade when it comes to
that caused weird confusion because Rob Schneider would be in Judge Dredd. It was so bizarre. It's like, okay, let's take that element again, because they don't really interact that much in Demolition Man for them to warrant putting him in Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, no, I wonder if it was something to do with the gestation, because I think Stallone came on board relatively late in the process on Demolition Man, didn't he? So I wonder if maybe Judge Dredd just had a much longer, like, established pre-production phase.
Yes, from what I gather, he was interested in it, but it was kind of this kind of delayed process, and obviously it was written by two other writers. It was Peter Lenkoff and Robert Renew, who had I think maybe they developed it together, or maybe one had come on later and did some rewrites. But then they brought on Daniel Waters, who had written Heathers and at the time Hudson Hawk and Batman Returns from the year before. He kind of added a lot of the comedy, and Stallone was concerned about comedy because he'd already had some hiccups with previous feature films focusing around comedy. They had to go. I think the guys at Warner Brothers had to fly out to Italy to speak to him because he was filming Cliffhanger, to sort of reassure him that everything was going to be, good.
I don't find the humour in this at all problematic, because it does a really good job of stemming from the situation. It's not slapped on the top. It's the humour generally comes from our sort of view of the interpretation of the situation being kind of absurd in the future.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think it's probably his own reservations because of Stop or My Mum Will Shoot, and maybe perhaps Tango and Cash had elements that he probably wasn't fully happy with.
Had he made Oscar by this point?
Oh, yes, he had. Yes, so there you go.
His most underrated film.
This apparently, I think this was an old disbanded school, and there hadn't been a demolition of this size in LA for decades. So they had the opportunity to use this building, and they set dressed it in like for this sequence here, and then the exterior they would blow it up eventually. You allowed to be demolished, and Marco Brambilla, who I think he said he put like 13 cameras on it, to sort of film it.
None of which show Sylvester Stallone realizing he's standing in a pool of petrol next to a load of upturned petrol barrels in front of a guy with a lighter that he's threatening the petrol with. He still hasn't realized that he's absolutely surrounded by petrol.
Set your ass on fire. Wesley Snipes was, I think, well, from what I read online, it was never actually confirmed in the audio commentary by the director, that other names were considered, and the list was Steven Seagal, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and even Jackie Chan.
Yeah, well, that wasn't other names considered. That was Jackie Chan was the first person approached to play Simon Phoenix in this final iteration of the movie. But I'd always known it was at some point it had been talked about for Seagal and Van Damme as a team-up. But apparently that was how it was written, how it was initially conceived, and that's why Warner Brothers bought it. They bought it as a vehicle for Steven Seagal, which does make sense, because if you think about it, he was their golden boy at the time, wasn't he? He'd yet to completely screw it all up, and he was the next. And so the idea of teaming him with Van Damme would obviously have been hugely the potential for that. Can you imagine? But Van Damme didn't want to play the villain, so Van Damme was happy to come on board as Spartan, but not as Simon Phoenix. So basically, they both wanted to play the good guy, which is kind of mad when you think about it, because Simon Phoenix is the showy, better role in most respects, really.
Yeah, well, yeah, he gets the best lines.
Yeah. Exactly.
Best scenes, because there was Daniel Waters said some criticism of racism, the black guy being the bad guy, but then Wesley Snipes, I think his response to that was like, I got the best scenes, I got the best dialogue, what more can I ask for? I got paid really well to do it.
He's the right actor for the role, and we've all seen plenty of movies in which black actors are cast just because they're black and they want there to be an association with threat or something like that. But I don't think that's the case here. Not that I'd know.
Now, Stallone's Superior.
Yes.
Is this the same universe as Lethal Weapon and Predator 2?
There are a lot of actors, and as ever with Joel Silver, there are a lot of actors from all those movies. We've already had Grant Bush, haven't we, in the helicopter, who is also in Lethal Weapon. Not to mention, any number of other movies. Die Hard.
He's the other Johnson.
License to Kill.
Yes. Well, I suppose that wasn't a Joel Silver production.
No. His best role, my favourite role anyway, is in Police Squad. And I've forgotten now the name of the character. He plays a boxer who's like a parody of Muhammad Ali. And I made a note to remember to say my favourite line, which is, and he's doing his poetry. Roses are red, violets are blue, sugar is sweet. I'm going to break your face.
Well, is that maybe because... Well, that must have inspired Stephen E. D'Souza to put him in Street Fighter as Balrog.
I wonder. But yeah, there's a bunch of them. And I think, what's his name? Pat Skipper was the helicopter pilot. And I'm sure he's cropped up in small roles in these movies, but not the ones you'd ever notice. And the only reason I notice him is because he's Scully's brother in The X-Files.
Oh, right, okay.
But he's a really good character actor. Crops up here and there. But yeah, in terms of, while we're talking about casting and we're at the beginning of the movie, so apparently it was conceived for Seagal and Van Damme. Van Damme wouldn't play it. I think that would have been really interesting, to be honest. I think Seagal would have been quite intriguing to see as a completely humorless version of John Spartan, and Van Damme going off the chart villain. That would have been that could have been really cool. It could have been something. I
think it would have been pretty interesting. Even though I'm not a huge fan of Seagal, I would have preferred this outcome.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but in terms of if you asked me when I was 12 years old or whatever, what would you want to see? A Van Damme and Seagal movie? I would have gone, yeah, hands up, straight
Perfect.
away. Yeah, that would have been brilliant, because it would have been a sort of addendum to Universal Soldier. You know, this kind of, again, another Van Damme returning, teaming up with another action star.
With a very similar plot dynamic, really, when you think about it.
Yeah. There is a lot of kind of... This film kind of borrows ideas from other stuff. There's quite a few kind of Philip K. Dick ideas in this.
Oh, hell yeah.
There's, you know, the sort of... The guy... Again, Universal Soldier, guys being essentially... Not reanimated, but sort of... They've come back with certain set of skills.
They're rivals from the past, whose rivalry has been reignited in the present or the future. And there was a whole thing around the early mid-90s for similarly themed movies. There's a movie called Apex, which is very, very similar, and there is also, I made a note of a couple that I knew I was going to forget. Free Jack. Because I've never even seen Free Jack, but apparently Free Jack is very similar. Cyber Tracker has bits of this, but the main one is Knight Rider 2000, which I'm a huge fan of Knight Rider, and that 1991 TV movie where they kind of half reboot it with a new kit, or Kift, as they cleverly rename him, because it's the Knight Industries 4000 now, not the Knight Industries 2000. But the plot is identical. It's exactly the same, except that Michael Knight hasn't been frozen. He's been off-grid for 30 years. But the main villain, who's played by Mitch Pileggi from the X-Files as well, Skinner from the X-Files, he's a super criminal. He's frozen. He's thawed out... even by the mayor or the dodgy guy who's in charge of the future, thaws him out for exactly the same reason, because he's off the grid, because he's not part. You know, he can be manipulated into creating the political action that he's after. The plot is absolutely identical, and the car from Knight Rider 2000 is in this movie.
Really?
It's the actual car that was Kit is a background car in this movie. No one's ever legitimately found it. There are lots of people saying they found it, but it's not the same car. It's based on the same car, but it's slightly different. But the behind-the-scenes footage, of which there's an hour on a Knight Rider fan site that I frequent sometimes.
As you do.
The behind-the-scenes footage clearly shows the car there on set.
Now, this sort of prosthetic of Stallone was... I think he put it on display, in Planet Hollywood.
And they were. I hate to be another trivia nerd here. Like I say, I fucking love this film, Ollie. This, by the way, is a rare pick from me. I got to choose this film, but it's. He actually had. They had a bunch of replicas made for various Planet Hollywoods. One of which is now owned by Red Letter Media. Weirdly. So the ones that were on display in Planet Hollywood and that come up for auction from time to time were never screen used or even made for the film. They were made subsequently.
So I presume most people just kind of look around to see his junk, don't they?
Of course. What are you going to do?
Maybe they made it all smooth, like a Ken doll.
I think it is like a Ken doll, isn't it?
And this sequence here, we see the cameras pulling back through the cryo chamber, as it were. That was Warner Brothers are getting pretty miffed because it's such a complicated shot, and Marco, hadn't. Because he come from directing commercials, and he was a video artist. He was, art installations with kind of using video, and weirdly, a bit like Robert Longo, who would direct Johnny Mnemonic, and Robert Longo would donate one of his pieces of art to feature in a museum later on. Which I didn't know about till recently, because I saw the comparison between Marco being an artist who went on to make films, and the same with Robert Longo, who was an artist, and his artwork features in American Graffiti.
Yeah.
Not Graffiti, sorry, American Psycho. And then he'd make Johnny Mnemonic, and then that obviously failed, and he went back into doing art. Where Marco did a couple of films and did a bunch of shorts, but he's mainly of the art world.
Yeah. I know he's got he had an installation a few years ago that was incredibly popular of clips from movies. I can't remember the details of it now, though.
I love this world, though, they've
Yeah.
created, because when I did my retrospective many years ago, to me it felt like this was the Delta City that OCP wanted. Even though I don't think the society would be very different to OCP, because OCP, from what you gather, is mostly kind of run by yuppies, assholes, you know what I mean? But in this kind of futuristic city, where this is kind of more of a polite facade, but behind it all is this kind of fascist kind of regime, right? And a guy who'd done a commentary to the Arrow release of Demolition Man called Mike White did kindly name drop me in his commentary.
Oh, really?
Because he agreed with my comparisons to Delta City. But yeah, seeing this, I'm watching some 4K, and the extended matte paintings of San Angeles are quite incredible.
Yeah, this isn't. I know exactly what you mean, and I agree with you. But at the same time, this is obviously a lot more social change has taken place here as well, rather than just like architectural and practical.
Oh, of course,
and it does make the whole premise of the film completely impossible to believe when you think about it.
Or in terms of the social aspect.
Yeah, how can this future exist in isolation of the rest of the world? Like, surely just outside the city limits, it's a chaos of drug dealing lunatics. So how does that never bleed in? How does everyone who lives in this city, how are they so unaware of what the world is like outside? How do none of these people know what toilet roll was?
Well, yeah.
It's only 36 years, and half of them she's literally a historian.
Yeah, and she's desperate for some action.
And presumably everywhere else in the world, is presumably still using toilet roll. So, like, what is going on here? Why is this like is it completely closed off? Is it like a Judge Dredd megacity situation where there's a huge wall around the edge and no media can seep in, no influence of any kind can seep in?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I'd perhaps mention that in my retrospective, where we're not given a glimpse or anything to the outside world, and it's very much self-contained to San Angeles. I mean, also you got to remember, like, obviously because of the earthquake, they've combined, these two land masses, so it's probably ginormous in that regard. But yeah, it to me, especially on first viewing, you'd think the future everywhere is like this now, but I don't think Nigel Hawthorne's character is now running the world. He's just running San Angeles. And it's underneath his, like, polite but, like, very much extreme views of how society should operate under his rule.
He's kind of a benign dictator, or at least that's the front that he shows. He does have a line about something I forget now, but there's some kind of line about how outside the city it's it's chaos. They're still living like they used to, or something like that. So it is canon that it is just San Angeles that is like this, and that he is in charge just of San Angeles. But
do you think the opening bit we saw in 1996 was kind of a somewhat reflection of the LA riots?
Yes,
with the sort of opening,
very deliberately,
because it also gives you that sort of, even though it's 1996, it still felt like it's in the future, and it had that sort of Blade Runner-esque moment, because you got the big beams of light in the air and fire and stuff in the background.
Yeah. And it's very specifically meant to be much worse than 1992 or 3 was, I think. And with regard to the whole it not really making sense what's going on outside of the city, the obvious thing to have done there is what they usually do, and I talk about this quite a lot actually in Mad Max videos, just how crucial it is to set your movie at the right point in the distance. And this is set far too soon for it to make any real sense. How can everyone have forgotten what toilet paper is? Even people in their 60s don't know what toilet paper is. That doesn't make any sense. It would have made a lot more sense to set it 100 years further into the future, and then you could have had the whole world could have realistically changed in one direction or another. Maybe maybe it's like Judge Dredd, and outside San Angeles, it's just a desert scape. There's no one left. But setting it so soon after the present meant they couldn't do that. And the only reason they did that, it was moved forward. It was originally meant to be set much later. They moved it forwards because they wanted to add this subplot about Spartan meeting his daughter.
Yes, yes, which they did film and remove. Yeah, then we'll go into that actually because audiences were slightly confused who his daughter was. But yeah, Wesley Snipes, man, what a brilliant martial artist. He's just, I love his way of fighting. There's a lot of like he would get close to you and do loads of quick jabs, and then suddenly just like throw you or like just like take you out with a kick. It was he's always exciting to watch as a fighter.
He is. It's his style is primarily Shotokan karate, which really suits him physically brilliantly well because it's kind of built around these really low stances where you keep your center of gravity, your legs far apart, center of gravity really low, and then it's quite rigid. So if you notice all of his moves, especially his kicks and punches, there's a real rigidity to them. There's none of the flowing, fluid kung fu style that you tend to see in Hong Kong movies or whatever, for example. But it is really important to mention just how freaking legit he was and is, Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, yeah.
He was a fifth Dan black belt in Shotokan karate when he made this. And for example, actors like David Bradley, who was a martial arts movie star in the 90s, he was also a Shotokan specialist. He was like first or second. Jean-Claude Van Damme started as a Shotokan specialist. I'm not aware of anyone in movies ever reaching that level with regard to Shotokan karate. Anyway, he is properly hardcore, legit Wesley Snipes.
And his style really works on camera because you can see everything happen. It's not like...
When he slows it down, he had to slow it all down a bit apparently, which is common.
Well, Kurt McKinney said to me the other day, he's met a number of martial arts guys, who become actors, and they get to black belt and they stop.
Yeah.
They don't continue onwards.
And that is worth mentioning as well. Actually, Gary Daniels, another one specialised in Shotokan. Yeah, they do. They either stop or they diversify. So it's not necessarily the case that Wesley Snipes is a better fighter than Gary Daniels, but he achieved a higher standard within that core form, which so many of that era's actors started in.
Have you noticed here with all the graphics on screen, that was all prepared months before the shooting, so what they're seeing on camera is all live, so they're getting live reactions. That's why it doesn't look comped in.
Yeah, it looks real, doesn't it? Yeah,
it looks real. So it's like the director said, it was a nightmare trying to sort of get that all prepared beforehand, because you've got scenes where you saw the guy at the cryo chamber kind of crawling along, within the video surveillance.
Yes, of course.
So that's already been done. Because nowadays that would seem bonkers to do, because you just literally have a green screen or blue screen for everything, and then you just comp it in, which they do, especially with there is some digital effects in this, especially with the freezing stuff, but most of it is kind of opticals. So when digital would come in, and then you have this sort of lot of specialist artists who would design computer interfaces. If films like Soldier, there's quite a few of it in that, where Band from the Ranch would do those kind of effects, and then just literally the actors would be looking at a green screen, But it's really cool because the graphic work actually kind of just feels like the 90s as well. It doesn't seem like future tech in terms of the graphics they've designed.
Yeah,
it's like when you watch tech shows of the 90s, and people interacting with those screens you tap, and you have to fucking tap the screen, didn't you, the CRTs to make things work. It kind of reminds me of that.
It looks completely of its time. It often makes me think of Star Trek or the Star Trek movies. And maybe because they were done the same way. I think they were largely actually projected on set, all those, because I guess because there's just so much to do. But during that, we just saw the 187. That's another one of my little bugbears about how do no policemen know what a 187 is now? Even the one, 3 of those 5 policemen we're looking at right now were clearly policemen. In fact, one of them we've already met back in the present day. So what? They just forgot what a 187 is. Have they never listened to a hip hop album?
They chose some really good locations here, because obviously a lot of the futuristic buildings are just basically corporate buildings, for pharmaceutical companies. And there's one we see later on when I mean, Stallone's been thawed out. It's the same building they use in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey to show you the future. So all this stuff here, I mean, it as a kid, young teenager, just like, whoa, where is this place?
Yeah.
And to me, like, obviously it's existing property, it's not being changed really. So to me, like, Los Angeles seemed like it was the future to me.
And it's fleshed out brilliantly with all the vehicles as well. I love the use of cars in this to establish because they all fit, because they're all real General Motors concept cars, I think, anyway. I don't think any of them were conceived just for the movie. So they
already existed.
Yeah. So as a result, they not only have they been properly thought through by an actual car manufacturer rather than someone just want a fiberglass shell this shape, slap it on there. They've all been properly thought through, and they all kind of
time cop.
Exactly, yeah. Which is not done brilliantly, but they all fit together as well because of that. They don't, and they're kind of, and they're from like 15 or 20 years worth of concept cars as well. So that's another thing that always seems odd in the future when everybody has 1-year-old cars. There will never be a time when there aren't old cars on the road. It's inevitable, and in this you feel that.
But also, like, when you see those, especially the police cars, they do look like electric cars of today.
Yeah,
it's mad, isn't it? And they said the cars themselves were basically like go-kart engines with this shell on top, so they're really noisy. But in the film, they've mixed it in a way the car's like woo, like an electric car would do.
Yeah, and that main one, the police car, it's called the Ultralight, if I remember correctly. And I think it was used as the basis, because obviously they only had like one or maybe two of each car. So although they are all legit concept cars, they are generally rebuilt.
Cars.
Yeah, exactly. So they were, but I think they were built for the movie rather than, but they were copied precisely from the original design. So yeah, and there they are. Yeah, that's why it's all legit. But that car did end up being used as the basis for GM's first electric car. And a lot of the principles are the principles behind modern electric cars, the importance of everything being light. I mean, never mind the shit. I mean, it kind of looks like a Tesla in a lot of ways. And it's a 1992, I think, design.
I think, Madman Elon Musk has, quoted Demolition Man as being influential.
Oh, God. That should be a sign for everyone, because you
No.
it's not John Spartan he's inspired by, don't you? It's clearly Nigel Hawthorne.
I did love the bit earlier when the swear machine got him. He's like, "What? Fuck you!" He throws the baby, gets charged again. I love how the police have to be prompted to do stuff. They have to read these things, so that's a very modern thing
with a demonstration. Like, not only does it tell him to lie down, it shows him how to tell him to lie down.
It's so good, isn't it? This is all the Philip K. Dick stuff, isn't it, with sort of getting skills burnt into your memory, essentially.
Although this actual thing, for some reason this movie has all kinds of repeated connections, and that's the second connection to Police Squad, or is it Naked Gun? I can't remember. They have exactly the same anti-graffiti device featured.
Really? Nice.
They've got the twitchy sound effects and the record scratches.
I love that line from Rob Schneider. We're police officers, not trained for this type of violence. I do love the stunt here when he throws the guy out the car. It's such a great stunt. It flips.
Glass technology has not evolved. It's actually devolved.
yeah. And I do like actually to make a great effort with the security stuff where they're not showing you the film in like in Star Trek would do. Yeah. They're showing you actual security stuff where it's kind of zooming in slightly and stuff to see what he's doing.
And again, it's clearly being played live. That's not been comped in.
No.
I don't think, anyway.
That doesn't look comped.
The effect looks too convincing, the standard definition effect. It's so stylish, isn't it? Just visually, in terms of the motion as well, there's just so much style going on in this sequence.
There's a lot of crossover with this because Marco Brambilla loved the look of Alien 3, so he brought on the DP Alex Thompson. One of my favourite cinematographers. He photographed Legend, Ridley Scott's movie, and Leviathan. I believe, and Excalibur. So old veteran English cameraman, and I love the look of this movie. And you got the composer Elliot Goldenthal, who done Alien 3. But Elliot Goldenthal, I think, was a bit of a risk for the studio because they wanted someone a bit more traditional, probably like a James Horner, Jerry Goldsmith type guy. Elliot Goldenthal's kind of more industrial kind of sound to his style of scoring, especially listen to Alien 3, and he does actually bring over, kind of reuse cues from Alien 3 in this, and then he'd kind of take some of what he did in this and put it in Batman Forever. So it's like, I've heard this before.
Composers, man, composers.
I know, copy and pasting, naughty. I love this kind of like the future of Zoom calling, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know? And they had like motion control rigs on each of these things to make them all turn with him.
Yeah.
So.
And again, really great gag coming up where he turns around and they're all listening in, and then they all turn around and pretend they're not listening.
Yeah.
Perfect gag, grown out of the situation, out of the technology. It's a technology joke. I've just realised they look like those YouTube things for 100,000 subscribers.
Which you gave away to your daughter, didn't you? You didn't want her to display it, did you, Rob?
No, she's lost interest in it now. It's now being used as a drinks tray.
Nigel Hawthorne. Now he was apparently Joel Silver's choice because he wanted that Alan Rickman, get a great actor from the stage and put him in a film. Nigel didn't like Stallone or Wesley Snipes, particularly Wesley Snipes, because Snipes liked the script, but he went off dialogue a lot and ad-libbed, and that's why his stuff is so brilliant. So Nigel really struggled with Wesley Snipes ad-libbing, because then he wouldn't know how to respond to that, so you have to keep saying line to the director, which like he's going, what? He's just like great actor from the stage, but take him off script, he's a bit lost. But Nigel, from one of the best TV shows ever made, Yes Minister.
Exactly, yeah. I've actually read his autobiography because I'm a Yes Minister super fan, and he had a lot of trouble with like you say, with Wesley Snipes, but also with Stallone, because he just couldn't understand what he was saying. It's the one thing I remember from his life. I must have read it 25 years ago, and the only the only way he knew when it was his turn to speak was by watching Stallone's lips, and then once they stopped moving, he'd just say his line. So he couldn't understand a word he said.
So I think Stallone is his least mumbly in this, because I think Stallone says as an interview in Starlog magazine where he talks like he does normally, like in this is how he normally talks to people, like how he sounds. So. He doesn't bring out. He sounds his most clear in this. He doesn't have that rocky kind of slur to his voice.
I think we know that in this, Nigel Hawthorne does not have the reputation of an arsehole or anything like that. But I suspect that there's a little bit of, he's a stager. He's from the Royal Shakespeare Company. He's stage trained. He's classically trained. Enunciation in theatres without microphones and sound systems, it was crucial. So actors of his generation were always really sneery about the Brat Pack generation onwards. When people started like mumbling or whatever, they were always really critical of it. But do you know why he took this role though?
No, I don't.
I think he talks about this in his autobiography as well. I remember it from somewhere. But he'd won either a Tony or some big stage award for Shadowlands in the early 90s, late 80s, something like that. And then when the movie of Shadowlands came to be made, he assumed he'd be transferring with it, but they cast Anthony Hopkins instead, because Hawthorne didn't have much of an international or film profile, because he'd never been interested. He'd been in movies. He was in Gandhi. He's in
tons of movies, before Demolition Man.
But it was always like, okay, it's the end of the season. the end of the stage season, he needs to pay some bills. He'll go and do a quick movie in Hollywood and come back. Whichever means the shortest amount of time he had to spend there was what he would always choose it by. But on this occasion, he'd just done Madness of King George on the stage, and had again just won big awards for it. And again, they were talking about transferring it to the screen. And he felt, and his agent said, if you take just one really high profile role, one of the, because he was always being offered them. If you take just one big high profile shiny action movie role, it will give you a profile in the States. It'll remind the studio that you're a big star. It'll show that you've got screen presence, not just stage presence. So the day after he signed on to do this, he found out he'd already been cast in the Madness of King George, and was furious because he now had to go and make this stupid movie he had no interest in, and he hated every minute of it. Like you said, yeah, he hated this film.
No. Does he say though in this movie the fullness of time?
I don't remember.
Yeah, because that was his great line from Yes Minister.
Oh, in the fullness of time, yeah.
In the fullness of time,
yeah.
And my wife was with a bunch of really old posh men who were investing in some art book, and one of them said "in the fullness of time," and she had to bite her lip.
That means they're saying no.
Yeah, well, it was basically like she was like, "This is just like Yes Minister," here,
Yeah, if anyone is listening to this in the States and has never seen Yes Minister, if you like old men in brown rooms wearing brown suits, and I do, then that's the show for you. It's awesome.
It's all about complicated dialogue. That's really funny.
It's basically the British equivalent of the West Wing.
Yeah.
In a way.
In a way, yeah. Now, this is a great little moment here because they to throw in all this backstory, they utilise it in a great way because now Stallone's been thawed out. He has to be brought up to speed. And that kind of gives you all this sort of backstory about the various earthquakes and how society's changed. And then they've, taken away smoking, drinking alcohol, having sex. You have to get a license to have a baby and all this stuff. And Stallone just goes, "You're shitting me." It's like, you've been fine. And I do love, so good they keep up that gag.
Yeah.
Like this with the subtle stuff, because once, Simon Phoenix goes in the museum and then he's looking around, goes, "Ooh," and he sees something from distance and goes, "Oh shit!" and his thing go off in the background. It's so good.
I like it when he gets fined 1/2 credit for a sotto voce violation, for a quiet violation.
The verbal morality, blah blah blah.
There is a lot to get through in this scene though, because this is where he's being told that his child is dead. And it's squeezed in between jokes. It's kind of...
Well, I don't think she's dead. I think his wife's dead.
Oh, no, it's his wife, isn't it? Yeah, her light was extinguished in the big one. And of course, and the daughter, we just never meet her in the end.
Which they did shoot the scene.
Yeah. And it was in test screenings, I believe, because I think one of the reasons they wanted to take it out was she appeared to be older than Lanila Huxley. So him having a love affair with someone younger than his daughter raised some eyebrows, apparently, because that doesn't happen in Hollywood movies.
Well, the thing is, the auditors were confused, thinking his daughter was actually Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, I've read about that over the years, but I've never understood why anyone would think that.
Because they had mentioned she was still around, and she could be the kind of right age for it, right? And then this kind of scene's coming up where they're going to have sex, and test audiences were like, oh god, this is getting a bit weird. And so that was their concern. So I had to loop in some dialogue to reassure audiences that
did they really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because it's like she is meant to be like 10 years older than. I don't know if it's mentioned in the movie. I assume it isn't. But Lanila Huxley is 29 years old, and they've been on ice for 36 years. So the daughter has to be significantly older. But also, like in a movie, so there might be his daughter in this movie. Who jumps to the conclusion it's the one character he has sex with that has to be his daughter? That's really weird. That would rule her out. It's more likely that fat guy is his daughter than the one he has sex with. Surely.
No, it's kind of more like the idea that if people don't pay attention to someone's age, if it's been highlighted or stamped, for you to remember it, and if they mention in briefing, oh, his daughter's still alive, we don't know what she's up to. It could be her, but I don't think. I never thought that. It's just that was a concern. But also, the early, Laurie Petty was Huxley.
Yeah.
And she only worked for 2 days on this. Laurie Petty was Tank Girl, and she had no chemistry whatsoever with Stallone. And the first scene they had to do was the sex scene, the VR sequence bit, and there was nothing there with them, so that was like, we got to change her. And then Sandra comes in, they audition like 3 other people, and she was like, I'll do the part for no money, which basically Marco said, which kind of destroys any negotiations with her to get a decent pay. I think she didn't get paid much at all for this, because she was just like desperate for the work. And to the film's benefit, she's like one of the highlights of the film, and for me, this is still one of my favourite performances of her, because she's just like plays this, like, she loves action, but she's all wrapped around this kind of neat bow of being extremely polite and under this kind of new regime of how you should live your life and how you should interact with people, and it's so charming.
Yeah, completely. I think this is easily my favourite performance of hers. I'm not sure I'm even a particularly big fan of any other performances of hers.
Speed? She's good in Speed.
She's all right in Speed, but she's like, I don't like that whole, I'm a dappy idiot persona that was so popular with female leads in movies like that. And I just don't, I can't do anything. I'm banned from driving 8 times because I'm so stupid. This is like a really unique and kind of weird character in this movie.
Have you seen The Net? She's in.
Oh God, not enough to not recently.
No, I've never seen it, but I thought, I don't think I would believe that Sandra Bullock is some sort of tech savvy person. So I wouldn't trust her to format your hard drive. You know what I mean? That sort of person. Like, no, give me that. I'll do it.
No, you wouldn't trust Annie from Speed to format your hard drive.
No, I wouldn't trust her to set the VCR.
Wouldn't trust her to drive a bus. That's for sure. I love all these. I mean, every single cop in this scene is somebody, aren't they? There's no like.
Yeah.
That Bob Gunton is a character actor I love, and you must, because of Shawshank.
Fucking amazing. Yeah. The Warden. He's so good at being an authoritative guy that he's not shouty really, but he has this kind of threatening, like 1940s. Extreme right wing white guy. You know what I mean? Behind closed doors, he's like wearing a white hat. You know what I mean? He's wearing white, going down. You know what I mean? Those sort of characters.
Yeah, similar kind of characters that he plays in Ace Ventura 2 and The Glimmer Man. Both come straight to mind. And 24 is actually what I'd go to him, the TV series. That's what I still think of him most as, because I was obsessed with that show. But yeah, it's a really nuanced character that is his trademark, because he's a villain, but he's not necessarily evil, or I don't know. There's a multi-layered villainous,
as you say,
to him.
A great character actor.
Yes, exactly.
So I thought, all this stuff here in the museum would have been designed by Marco Brambilla because of his art background, but I don't think he went into detail about, I designed this and that. I think maybe production designer had done that. So this building here is the one they used in Bill and Ted. This is like a pharmaceutical company.
Okay.
I mean, it's like, look at it. That is the future, man.
That could be Star Trek. Yeah, that could be.
It does look like a big PlayStation 4. How it sort of tears up, right? I said apparently getting in and out of this car was a nightmare. Like, even though it all seemed simple, the doors going up and down, things just didn't work.
There's
properly.
no handles on the doors either, are there? Have you ever noticed? There are no door handles. I wish I was paying attention then to them opening it from the outside, because I want to say you never see them open, or or it's time to open. And also look at how they. Oh no, she's not doing it.
The dashboard's not very well designed. I don't think. The steering wheel thing which shrinks in and gets bigger. Like the little dials I've added seem a bit rushed to put in the car. It's not like when you get in the Batmobile, they've literally put in like a Spitfire kind of like dashboard. You know what I mean? Like it looks like a plane inside it. You know what I mean? This is that's a little bit better. That's a bit more interesting. But that's kind of an insert shot. It didn't seem like it was maybe part of the car. The director said he wished because of this stuff here, where like retro songs were now the thing everyone listens to. You know,
mini
Charlie
songs.
Green Giant. You know, he wished he'd kind of maybe included more branded stuff, like where he says where people now who just like are just whores now, where they sell themselves out to a brand. You see it all the time, Instagram, TikTok, or whatever, or even on YouTube, where they just like sell the latest items without any real conscience to themselves. You know what I mean? So he wished he'd maybe had a bit more of that, where people were selling stuff. You know, just like,
Love that bit.
I love that bit. It's the bit here. Oh shit!
I mean, is this one of the top 5 great villains of action cinema?
Yeah, Wesley Snipes, man. I don't think he ever really gave a bad performance during this whole 90s period. He was like on fire.
I mean, what he brings to this role is extraordinary when you think about it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to punch my way through the reinforced glass. Why not? What is your boggle?
It was your boggle, yeah. I love how with his eyes as well. One's blue and one's brown.
Yeah.
It's that kind of David Bowie thing.
I don't know if it's because they flipped so many shots or what, but they keep changing which eye is which as well. Actually, it must be flipping because there's also later on when he's wearing that armoured like shoulder pad outfit, it's asymmetrical and that keeps switching, keeps flipping as well.
Where are all the phaser guns? Now, Rob, were you aware of the exclusive video game of Demolition Man that had footage shot for it featuring Stallone?
Oh, I do remember. That does ring a bell, actually, but...
It's for the Panasonic 3DO console. Around this time, because everything was... games, 93, 94... FMV is the thing, you know, full motion video on a CD with limited gameplay, often the case. So the 3DO game had it's like you could use a light gun, like shoot screen, and then there was levels where you'd fight Simon Phoenix, like a Mortal Kombat type thing. And there's a driving level, and then there's like a first person shooter. So it's broken up into different types of games. And for it, there was all a lot of full motion video kind of moments where you have actors come on screen, they shoot them, and Stallone was in it. And then if you die, he'd say things to camera like, "You suck," or like, you know, "Use the force," you know, like that. Like stupid like quips to camera, but it's very amusing.
Hey, Luke Skywalker, use the force.
Yes, yeah. It's very, very funny. And then there was like on the Mega Drive and Super Nintendo, there was like a standard platformy game, which is actually surprisingly good.
I've never even heard of a Panasonic 3DO. Did you say?
Yeah, it's just 3DO. Then like the 3DO was a company. Then like different manufacturers would make a console, like Gold Star, Sanyo, and Panasonic, but mostly kind of associated with Panasonic. Them trying to get into that world of video games.
Never heard of it. Probably seen one in Stuart's museum, I imagine.
Yes, yeah, he's got a couple there. I used to have one years ago.
This movie without the comedy can just sod off. It really can.
I mean, it's interesting if Daniel Waters didn't add the comedy and it was played for a bit more of a straight-laced action film.
I don't think I'd be able to relate. I don't think I'd get on with it if it took itself seriously.
There must have been some comedy in it already for this kind of future, because because Daniel Waters had 2 weeks work on it to add the comedy. So
it's hard to do a fish out of water movie without some kind of humour to it, isn't it?
Yes, these guys. I know Daniel had said like after the film came out and over the years that they, you know, I think he's now friends with one of the writers, but he felt, you know, they were very upset with what he had done. but the film was successful financially, and apparently, like the director said, it was like really big in the UK, and it sort of remained. I'm not surprised because everyone I know who's seen it, friends growing up, have always loved Demolition.
Yeah, this was, funny enough, this was one of the first movies that a friend of mine and me used to watch regularly, kind of ironically. As much as I loved it sincerely as well, it would be like if you were drunk and stoned, then stick Demolition Man on, and you'd like, and you know, I suppose you were mainly laughing at things you were meant to laugh at, but.
I loved it. I think the film does have, like, it loses some of its momentum a little bit later. I think it has such a strong setup and middle act.
I don't like the Dennis Leary stuff, if I'm honest, and it maybe just because I just cannot stand Dennis Leary.
I was always annoyed with him when I was younger because he stole Bill Hicks's gags.
I've still never forgiven him for.
Yeah, I've kind of I've kind of like, I don't care anymore, but. For a long time, I was very upset.
If he wasn't such a talentless phony, I'd have been fine with it by now. But he is a talentless phony, so he can fuck off.
Because he'd done around his time, I think around 93, did Judgment Night, which I film I've not seen. Have you seen Judgment Night?
Oh, God, yes. Really good soundtrack.
Alan Silvestri score. Sounds just like Predator. But as a guy had reached out to me to sort of say, you should review this. And I watched the trailer and... I listened to the score and went, this is pretty fucking good.
I don't remember it at all.
Anyway, so Dennis Leary was in that. Then before that, he was in Loaded Weapon 1. So he was this stand-up comedian who's making its move to, feature films. And the same with Rob Schneider, because he come from Saturday Night Live and he's now doing these kind of films. Dennis Leary, later on, when Stallone meets him underground and he goes off and is kind of like, big speech about stuff. That is all Dennis Leary sketch.
Yeah.
It wasn't part of the script. And the director said this kind of it ruins the tone a little bit. It kind of it shifts the movie. And I think the underground, like, society is a bit half-baked in the movie. I think that's kind of its problem.
I agree. But I don't know. So what I have always had in my head about Dennis Leary's casting is that he was cast specifically because Brambilla wanted him to do that stuff, or was it maybe it was the writers or a producer or someone, but someone, because once he was cast, they rewrote Edgar Friendly entirely in order to take advantage of Bill Hicks. Of Dennis Leary's stage persona.
Well, Dennis Leary didn't like making the film. He wasn't happy.
No, he calls it a piece of shit. A giant piece of shit is what Dennis Leary says about this, which is ironic because its biggest problem is him.
I agree.
I mean, I can't stand. I've never been able to stand the guy, and it wasn't even originally because of Bill Hicks. I do not get. I know he's big. He's got some fireman show that he's big in or something, but I've to be honest, I've only ever seen him in 2 or 3 things, and just couldn't stand him in any of them. And those things he used to do on MTV, that used to wind me up because by then it was clearly and embarrassingly just imitating Bill Hicks. Who said of him, whilst we're slagging off Dennis Leary, I made a point of finding my favourite Bill Hicks quote about him. I have a scoop for you. I stole his act. I camouflaged it with punchlines, and to really throw people off, I did it years before him. But they were friends, they were friends. They'd hang out together. And
yeah. And one comedian said, hey, Bill, why did you quit smoking? I want to see if Dennis would.
Yes. I love
that. It's great, isn't it?
Which he did do. He has quit smoking.
But what they should have done for Dennis Leary's character was be to someone who was maybe working with Raymond Cocteau. Was it Cocteau?
Cocteau.
His name? Cocteau, yeah. Working with him, and they sort of didn't see eye to eye. So then he went underground. So they could have cast another British actor or whatever, someone of a very well-spoken person.
I tell you who'd been good in that role. What's his name? Bill Hicks. He'd have been good.
Bill. Yeah, he's still around. He's still alive. Who's the guy who's in Dogma? He pops up.
Which?
The other comedian that.
George Carlin.
George Carlin. I mean, he could have been a
George
funny guy.
Carlin would have been great because there would have actually been logic behind that casting. Because that would have been brilliant casting.
So yeah, I think that would have been more ideal. I think that's I think the only film's flaw for me is just the underground society is a bit underbaked.
Yeah,
and I do enjoy little moments where Stallone's character gets to sort of goes like, oh yeah, and he has that burger, it's a rat burger, he has a beard, he's just like that little, he feels at home there,
I don't think Dennis Leary's actually on camera at that point. That's why it's literally just every shot with Dennis Leary in it. That's where my problem lies.
And we get to see Jack Black in his first role.
I believe so.
And then he'd the following year appear in Neverending Story 3, which is a terrible film. But I watched it the other day, and it was like you could see Jack Black would become a star,
And The X-Files, another.
Is he in X-Files? Is he?
One of his first performances is in The X-Files is a video game nerd.
Oh right. Okay, I'll have to which series is that then? The series?
Oh God,
2?
I forget which series it is, but it's a really good episode. He's best mates with Giovanni Ribisi. I've forgotten I haven't said that name in such a long time. And Giovanni Ribisi develops like all the special powers based from video games. I can't remember, like a video game gets struck by lightning or something stupid.
Oh,
and him and Jack Black are the double, and it's a really good one.
See, they're the best episodes of X-Files, the Freak of the Week ones.
Yeah.
They are the best ones.
Yeah.
I got fucking tired of the alien fucking long-winded narrative, which the first movie would utilise. I was like, boring. I love the sort of the Japanese influence as well, with the sort of...
with Associate Bob. Well, actually, a lot of the costumes, yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's like, he's obviously... the director cast him because he was in Beetlejuice, so, There's a lot of like the director seeing people and going, I want him from that, I like this movie, let's take that cameraman.
And with the cast, that's why almost every actor is a somebody, is a noticeable character actor, a notable...
You're given a large budget movie, and then you've been watching movies over the years, go, oh, I love that, look at that movie, let's get that cameraman, I want him.
And these guys, Bob Gunton's not going to break the bank, for Christ's sake. I don't know why this isn't a more common... Like, stack your movie with A-list B-listers, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, Benjamin Bratt maybe isn't essential. We can establish that early on.
Nowadays, Rob Schneider would not be essential at all.
But you've got Gran Bush is in there. Troy Evans is the fat guy we keep seeing, who... Ace Ventura 1, first Ace Ventura, Bob Gunton there from Ace Ventura 2, the other senior white cop.
And he's in The Frighteners as well.
Oh, he is, isn't he?
He's always good at playing cops, also because he had a military background. And
in fact, most of the actors in this are known for playing cops. Grandel Bush just plays cops.
Yeah.
Pat Skipper from The X-Files plays a lot of cops.
Didn't he star in a Seagal movie?
Under Siege.
Troy Evans. That was it. I think the story you told me, wasn't it? Where Seagal was being a dick and Troy Evans, like, because he had a military background.
Yeah,
he snapped into it straight away and gave him a bollocking,
And it worked.
Yeah.
Well, for a while anyway.
Because he's so good at playing a softie, you know what I mean? But then behind all that, he's like, you don't mess with him.
Exactly. In Ace Ventura, he's like Mr. Cuddly, isn't he? If you remember him in that. Yeah. But also, speaking of all these great character actors, do you know who plays the voice of the computer?
Yes.
Oh, thank God, because I had a horrible feeling I might have got this wrong, because I haven't thought about this for years. Adriana Barbeau, yeah.
Yeah.
Also the voice of the computer in The Thing.
Yes. She's got a wonderful voice. So, and she's Catwoman, isn't she? In the cartoon, animated cartoon.
I don't know. I've not seen that. She's in Murder, She Wrote about 5 times.
I played the Murder, She Wrote board game the other week.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
And Paul.
Yeah, I'm not at all offended that you didn't invite me around to get involved.
That's all right. I know you wouldn't play it anyway. But yeah, Paul though was intrigued by your recent find of the. Oh God, what was it?
Inspector Morse board game.
Inspector Morse board game.
It comes. I haven't tried playing it, but it comes with a branded Inspector Morse notebook, which is immediately my favourite thing. No one's allowed to make notes on it. It's too important.
So, okay, the franchise stuff with Taco Bell and Pizza Hut. So, in the script, it was originally Burger King, right? But then, during the course of making it, they approached McDonald's. But McDonald's said no, because it's an R-rated movie. So, they settled on Taco Bell. We were more than happy to let them use the name. But obviously, outside the USA, Taco Bell was not a thing. So, they went with Pizza Hut, which has been a staple of, especially the UK, for many years.
And is universally recognised as being absolutely awful. So it makes complete sense, because the whole joke is that it's the worst restaurant in the world, isn't it?
Well, yeah, at the franchise wars they call it, don't they? And like Taco Bell's famously gives everyone diarrhea, right? Like, most people get like the shits after eating it. So there was that recent outburst, you know what I mean? In America, everyone's getting severe diarrhea. Taco Bell goes, "We're investigating," despite no one blaming Taco Bell at the time. It's so funny.
This scene wouldn't have looked quite so good in a piece. That's a good point, actually. Yeah, what do they do with the actual food they're eating then?
Well, yeah, it looks more like,
because did they reshoot?
No, they don't. They don't change any of the food in the Taco Bell Pizza Hut comparison. It's just a logo and outside.
So they're meant to be in a Pizza Hut, but they're just
they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be in a Taco Bell.
Oh,
right. So the only thing that's changed is the logo outside and the ad lib. The ADR.
Yeah. So in the international version, in universe, this scene is meant to be taking place in a Pizza Hut. But they're not eating pizzas, they're eating Mexican food.
Yeah, so that's the end. But then the writer says, well, it kind of still looks like it could be Pizza Hut, It actually looks more like the salad bar, isn't it, Pizza Hut?
That's
you know
true.
What I mean? They give you a plate the size of a contact lens. Take whatever you want.
To be honest, the whole concept behind this it's pretty stupid anyway, because I'd never heard of Taco Bell when I saw this movie, but the context of the joke makes it obvious that Taco Bell is not, in Sly's time, did not have the reputation of a fine dining establishment. It's a really obvious joke. You don't need to know that Taco Bell is rubbish.
I think you need to know that you be familiar with the franchise, though, because like you'd find it funny. Oh, Pizza Hut's the only one that survived. You know what I mean? So for Americans, it's funny because it's Taco Bell's the only one that survived. We're surrounded.
Got the joke perfectly well without having heard of Taco Bell.
Nowadays, what would they use now? Please, like Subway would be the one that survived the franchise wars or something.
Wagamama. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Wagamamas. You could change that to this.
I used to work next door to a Wagamama, and every day on their doorstep was delivered a massive pile of pre-cooked noodles ready for them to put straight into the microwave. All individual packets for every meal they're going to sell. I hate Wagamama.
Yeah. When I was at the cinema, I always saw the delivery of Frankie and Benny's. That was all just frozen food, people. It's junk.
Here we go. Bad people about to do bad things.
When they go underground, though, it's basically they've entered Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Right? It's basically it. Because the costume designer was Bob Ringwood, who had designed Dune, most of the superhero movies of the 90s. The Batman suit was very much his. So Marco wanted Bob because he'd worked on Dune. So he said, like, for the outfits, just like they just wear out stuff that's just picked up around them. So they just make any kind of suit. But ultimately, the suits just look like Mad Max stuff, right? That's what it looks like to me.
Of course. So in context, then, what we've learnt so far is that there has basically been no serious crime for years and years and years and years. So are we to assume that this is the first time that the scraps have actually come up to the surface to do something like this? Because the way Edgar Friendly talks is as if this is his everyday life. This is what they do. This is how they survive. But the way the police talk, they don't even know they exist.
Okay, so I think it is happening on a regular occurrence, hence why Nigel Hawthorne wants him killed. Because you see there the frustration in his face with them causing this display of carnage. Right? But the police themselves, because I think it's being so low-key, it's just them pinching stuff, right? And he's been, Cocteau has been been informed of this stuff, so he's probably seen more than the police. But yeah, it's his way of just stamping out anything that's kind of slightly off kilter with his society, even if it's minute.
Exactly. Because he is a supervillain and clearly psychotic, even though it's incredibly well hidden. He could want to stamp Edgar Friendly out and the Scraps simply because he knows they exist. They don't need to be a violent threat to his order necessarily for someone like him to want to stamp them out. I've never quite got a handle on that, whether Associate Bob is. In the novelization, it's revealed that Associate Bob was castrated by Cocteau, amusingly titled Cocteau, in order to make him more like compliant, basically.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that was his kind of direction with the character. You know what I mean? But he plays him just like any other performance he does, because I think he was also in Heathers, but he basically plays the same guy you saw in Beetlejuice, right?
Yeah. I'd completely forgotten he was in Beetlejuice.
I love it in Beetlejuice where he appears at the end and he points a gun at him. Well, not a real gun, but his fingers goes, and his clothes come off and reveals like a different suit. He's like, ah! He runs off. At the end when they go into the complex that holds the cryo chamber, that is basically a convention center, which they always have all the Comic-Cons at, right? And I think they also use that building in Starship Troopers when they go to sign on, and then they say goodbye to Denise Richards and stuff. It seems like the same structure.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me because, again, it's like buildings that look like the future.
Yeah.
They're minimalistic, but sort of just like grand and sort of, work with, they don't seem old with their design. It all seems very much like, it's not like the future of, say, the 60s, you know what I mean, where you see stuff in that sort of brutalist kind of architecture to a certain degree, but like it's like watching Thunderbirds, you know what I mean, when you saw the future, it felt like, it's just like sky-rise buildings you see in London, just full of like, the council houses. But it's this future seems very much fitting with what you still see, with new architecture.
This is what of all the futures of movies of this era. This is one that is kind of closest to having come true. Not in socially, but aesthetically. Like this is what their version of cars, their version of architecture. This office design. This could be like a Logan Roy type character's office in real life nowadays. This doesn't look like it was designed 30 some years ago.
But it's other things we've seen so far. They've got iPads, essentially, we saw earlier. When he communicates with, where he puts the mini disc in his room, in like that little drive, and you've got the TV screen is vertical. It's like a phone, and it's like that's really kind of forward thinking. Yeah,
if you swap that mini disc out for a USB stick, then that's all like Star Trek. The thing they always get wrong with the iPad type things is they always have a big thick frame around them, which iPads used to have, didn't they? I think the early tablets did.
Yeah, it's quite thick. Yeah.
Yeah, look, now he's in this outfit which is made of old ATV tyres. I think by the looks of it, and I think actually.
It is.
It becomes easier to notice when it flips. I'll forget, but you might not because you've got a memory.
There was a continuity gaffe here apparently because the director said he wasn't supposed to get out the chair, or like there's a scene where you don't see him get out, but he's already stood up or something like that. He said he couldn't get around it in the edit. I'm not sure if that was a thing where you're concerned about there being a flip, but he gets up, so it might be for a later scene because they kind of. I always felt like this scene and later on where he goes back to him and then he gets Jesse Ventura to shoot him. It's like they must have shot these scenes on the same day. You know what I mean? Because it's like making use of the space, right? But Nigel Hawthorne, I don't think he really gets to show off his acting skills in this. I think he's very much like he clearly doesn't like being here, as you say, and he never gets his moment to be like really evil, to show his true side. There's little moments where he's like, I just want you to kill this guy. That is it. Just kill him. And I don't care about anything else. And he makes a huge blunder here by letting Phoenix unfreeze all these dudes who have, again, he has no foresight to think not to program them, not to shoot him.
Well, also, I mean, that's kind of a plot hole in a way, because when Simon Phoenix releases them, presumably they would have all been subject to the same conditioning that John Spartan is, so they should really have woken up as less violent knitting enthusiasts. But they don't, do they? They're thought out, and they're exactly.
I love
as
he
mental
becomes a seamstress. You know what I mean?
The thing with Nigel Hawthorne, though, is that I don't like the script just doesn't give him an opportunity to do anything particularly interesting.
No.
But every single scene he's in, which is normally just him standing in a room talking to someone, he brings so much to it. He brings so much to nothing. Like, I can't remember if that was the one with the no kiss kiss, no bang bang. The delivery of lines like that and his expressions are so good. I find him absolutely really threatening in a really unnerving kind of way.
He doesn't get the scene stealing dialogue of Alan.
No, there's no big soliloquies, no big action scene or anything like that. Yeah, and his death is completely out of the blue, really. It's totally unexpected.
Because obviously now the stuff because they were pointing out, like, as well, I suppose we mentioned as well, with their foresight with technology, with the TV screen, the iPad, they got the kind of Apple Vision type thing with the VR headsets, really, with the virtual reality kind of sex stuff. You've got the guys being prompted to do stuff like how people are now with like customer services, or being told there's no have your own thought. It's like follow these rules. And what else do we have pop up? There is something else that is quite relevant. I mean, obviously no tissue paper. There was that kind of COVID thing where no human contact and no toilet paper because there's a lack of bog roll.
That's really true, actually. Yeah, I mean, it has the whole elbow and fist bump thing is almost as big a part of our sort of social culture now as handshaking, and in this, it's that weird like wave. Yeah, it's a contact-free wave.
I love it when Stallone meets him and he's like does a proper like street handshake. And it's like he's looking at his hand like, oh, what have you just done?
So this apparently was another of the main reasons why they ditched the daughter idea. Stallone didn't like the idea of having a daughter and preferred the idea of having a sex scene. So apparently this was added much later in the day. And he came up with the idea of this sex machine, apparently, as well, Stallone himself.
Well, this is all... the director said there is an R-rated version where you see more nudity, but again, it's not Sandra's body, it's a double. I don't think she's... there's a couple of quick boob shots, you see.
Are there? I don't know.
Yeah, you got the flash frames. There's a boob!
It's Stallone's face. I want to freeze frame some of
There's a bit where he's like this. He's like this. I have to freeze frame that and put it in the video. But because you do get another boob shot though when the lady accidentally calls Stallone. Oh, I've got the wrong number.
Oh, yes, yeah.
But that's obviously shows you that people in that society are breaking the rules, right? They're not sticking to. The sort of the VR headsets. There is a kind of, it's not important at all, but it just shows you a little bit of undercurrent where people aren't sticking to the rules. Where she is very much in that.
I would assume that I wouldn't be so generous, to be honest. I'd assume they just thought that was a cheap, funny joke to throw in and didn't really think about the wider context.
Hey, dude, it's a Joel Silver movie. It's a 15. You've got to have boobs in it, right?
But and again, this is another one of those movies that like you could make it a PG-13 so easily without losing anything that I can unless there's something I'm not thinking of.
This, if you took out two little bits, this would be a 12A. Yeah, because you can have the swearing still.
Which is generally the closest we in the UK has to a PG-13, isn't it? I think 12A is a bit closer than a PG.
Yeah, R-rated is 15 or 18, isn't it, over here?
Yeah.
Well, I'll say Joel Silver, like, with his sort of guidance over the picture, Joel Silver, like, he says every 10 beats there's got to be an action scene in the script. So in the case of this, the film is consistent with the action. It's not like it's an action movie, but there's a little bit at the beginning, a bit in the middle, and at the end. There is consistent action.
Yeah.
And Joel Silver knows that. And I remember, I think you had said when we were chatting recently for the Bloodsport documentary, where Canon was like, it's got to be 50% action. You know what I mean? It's like they know when an action scene's got to come in.
Yeah, they literally had a formula that Sam Furstenberg told me he was told to work to.
Yeah, and Joel knows that, and that's why he was always when you go into a Joel Silver movie, you know you're going to get some bloody good action scenes. I love this bit here where he looks in the mirror. He does a bit of a Rocky. He just goes like pretends to punch and stuff like that. The three seashells. Watch him. Look, looks in the mirror.
Yes, that was Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
There were 3 seconds there where he was playing Rocky Balboa. It was all in the shoulders.
They talk about Laserdisc a few times in this, and but they use mini discs here. But the writer said I earned too much money at a young age and spent a lot of my money on Laserdiscs. Obviously, back then they were very expensive.
So, are there any landscape screens in this?
No.
Or are they all portrait?
They're all portrait. Well, no, because at the moment, what he's got, you've got the vertical, but the security below is normal, regular 4x3 TV. So there's no, that's one thing they get wrong in terms of TVs. It's all 4x3. But they do get things right with the telephone call, which is vertical.
And they've got 2 screens. So he's got a device here which appears to be a combination of like computer and television and telephone. So that, again, that's like rolling all that into one is very now, but it's got 2 different screens, whereas we generally use the same screen for all 3 of those things.
So he'd call someone for the top and then watch TV on the bottom, I'm trying to think actually what sort of sci-fi movies would have widescreen TVs as the feature.
Yeah, it's not the kind of thing I remember, sadly.
I'm sure. I think I know perhaps Highlander 2 does have a few widescreen TV type things where they're just sort of maybe even Aliens. Maybe I might be wrong, but yeah, someone will probably mention in the comments where they saw a widescreen TV.
That's a fake Knight Rider car behind there. That's
really?
One the red one. That's one of the cars one of the shots that's most often claims to be. And actually, maybe that one could be because you can't see the giveaway is the end. Is the tip of the bonnet, the tip of the hood. But I don't know why you're laughing at me. I like cars, okay, and I like Knight Rider.
It's got to be that one. The one in the background, you can barely see it. That's some Knight Rider.
but in Knight Rider, they wanted to use that specific car, which was a GM concept car, not the ultralight, not the one they use here. They wanted to use it in Knight Rider, but GM wouldn't let them. And so they just copied it. They just made like a fiberglass shell and stuck it on something else. But then when Demolition Man came to them and wanted to use the same car, they were actually allowed to use it. So the car that Knight Rider is modelled off is in the background of some of these shots, and so is the actual car from Knight Rider 2000.
Mental.
Which has, as I say again, exactly the same plot as this.
That's crazy, man.
3 years earlier.
So they find out now all the skills that Simon Phoenix has. He's got like everything, where Stallone has just been lumped with sewing.
It's knitting.
Yeah, knitting.
Isn't it knitting?
Yeah.
I think it's knitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cocteau really didn't hide his tracks very well, did he?
No, terrible. She can access. It said access denied. Then so she just puts a code in. Oh, I've got access to everything now.
And all you have to do is tap into the security footage outside the. Well, it's a simple plot, isn't it? There's no point in overcomplicating things too much. So, one note I made on Nigel Hawthorne while we're in that area was apparently both Stallone and Wesley Snipes would take it in turns to be really late to set. And he was keeping a tally to see who he was most irritated by during production because they were constantly having to wait for one or the other of him. And, you know, a down-to-earth English stage actor, that kind of demanding behaviour would just be like the worst thing imaginable. You just don't do it.
It's a good job that Sandra Bullock's shorter than Stallone. I know in Judge Dredd he had the heels as well on his shoes, but also still with the heels he was still shorter than the main villain. I can't remember the actor's name now. He was a great actor, but there's a lot of standing on boxes. You know what I mean, to get them eye level.
Yeah. Someone told me the other day, I don't know if this is true or not, but it's Marvel had to write it into Robert Downey Jr.'s contract that he had to wear lifts because he didn't like doing, and no, Iron Man isn't short. Iron Man, so they had to force him to wear lifts basically.
I've seen the photos. It's hilarious, the shoes he's got on. It's amazing.
Because you forget, don't you? Before he became, but now he's so famous as Iron Man. He was famous for being Charlie Chaplin and short people, specifically short people. That's a different gun to the one that we briefly saw on screen being pointed at his head.
Really? They've changed it?
I've never actually noticed it myself, but I read the trivia thing earlier.
Look at the background. Look at the background sort of design, like with the landscape. That's a really cool world they've set up. I love all that. They were apparently, because this was supposed to be like a 45 million, maybe 50 million, went up to over 70. And they were going to shoot a lot more background plates and things like that for the extending the world. Because the director had different locations he wanted to use, and they just couldn't do it. You know, run out of money. But I think they still do a good job. I think the again, the map painters will come in and save the day. This all seems like Beverly Hills. I think this is. So I recall, I think Beverly Hills cop Axel F. He's driving around this place.
Really?
Yeah. It all looks quite familiar.
It looks like one of those modern out of town media office centres to me.
I might be completely wrong here, man. It just seemed like similar design.
Someone remind me why Ben Bratt's in this movie.
Now, you asking me, Rob, before we did this, to make a list of the top 10 action movies of the 1990s.
Yeah.
So, would you want it in order, or just list any 10 films?
Well, I don't know. Well, the reason I thought about this was Ollie said to me do you want to pick a movie to do? So I picked Cannonball Run because Cannonball Run is one of the greatest films ever made. And Ollie said, "No, you're too old. People don't care. Stop being so old." So I was charged with...
That's an incorrect quote, man.
I was charged with thinking of something from the 90s. So I got my letterbox list of all my favourite movies, and I confined it to action in the 90s, and was really surprised that there weren't a lot more. That there aren't a lot more 90s action movies that I love. There are plenty I like, or even really like. But in terms of love, there's really only about 3 or 4. I was really surprised.
So what did you put down then?
Well, do you want
to do mine?
Yeah, give me a rundown from 10 to 1.
10 films I really love, action movies of the 90s. Predator 2, Bad Boys, Con Air, Demolition Man, of course, True Lies, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Terminator 2, Speed, The Matrix, and Hard Target.
Okay. Well, hang on. So that's not in order then?
Nah, it's just
unless you prefer Terminator 2 to Hard Target, which I'd be surprised by.
No. It's just a bunch. That's just 10 movies I really like. I don't like listing stuff really, because my lists always change. Because people always say to you, "What's your favourite film?" It's always like some guy just emailed me going, what are your top 100 favourite movies?"
Excuse me, I'll just take an hour out of my day to...
Yeah, my time to give you a list of random person I don't bloody know. No, you're not getting that benefit from me. Sorry, it sounds like grumpy, but yeah, go on, Rob.
Before I upset anyone, there are plenty of 90s action movies, like I say, that I really like. The Rock, Ronin, Executive Decision, Payback.
Oh, Ronin, fuck.
Yeah,
forgot that.
Lethal Weapon 4, GoldenEye, Predator 2, Air Force One, Cliffhanger. I don't think you mentioned Cliffhanger. True Lies, and Total Recall. And to be honest, they're all in my
top tier of that.
No, that's second tier. That's second tier. Yeah.
Okay.
That's second tier. I don't like none of those films are like they're not top drawer for me. They're
Air Force One ain't top drawer for me.
I love Air Force One though. I mean, I love them all, but Air Force One.
I like it.
I prefer I didn't mention The Matrix then, for example, which I could, and because I much prefer Air Force One.
I'd rather watch like Patriot Games or Clear Present Danger than Air Force One.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. But then the ones that I could actually make some that I would consider like true favourites, absolute top drawer love, in descending order, vague descending order. Die Hard 3, Speed, Desperado. I'm not sure you mentioned that either.
Oh, I didn't mention that. No.
Desperado, if it counts. I mean, it's kind of a bit different, isn't it? Con Air, and then the absolute top. So like the absolute top tier are Con Air, Under Siege, Die Hard 2, and then clear 2 and 1 favourites would be Demolition Man would be my second favourite, and Terminator 2. If we're not counting Hong Kong, otherwise you can probably chuck Drunken Master 2 in above Terminator 2.
Yeah,
if I'm honest.
that's the thing.
And Operation Condor as well.
I think what I gathered from that top 10 90s thing was kind of like American-made blockbusters, right? But you put Under Siege 1. I mean, I have more fun with Under Siege 2 because of many reasons.
But he doesn't do his what is this babbling bullshit line in Under Siege 2 though. That's the highlight of the first movie for me.
Well, now we're about to witness some babbling bullshit from Dennis Leary.
Yeah, you can fuck off. But what struck me though was out of my favourite American ones, there 5 of them out of the top 9, I think I ended up being 5 of them are sequels. One of them's a remake, and one of them's a rip-off in Under Siege. So, I'm wondering if I've really overestimated the value of 90s action all these years, because I've always kind of thought of it as being the pinnacle.
You didn't have Hard Target on your list, did you?
No, I wouldn't put Hard Target on that high.
You're fucking mad. The action in that's insane.
I'd put AWOL in there before Hard Target.
Oh, man. I love AWOL, but that's kind of more of a martial arts movie, right? Action's got to require guns and explosions.
Well, martial arts is a subcategory of action.
I know, but it's like there's a martial arts movie, there's an action movie, but then you combine the two, of course, like The Matrix. But I don't know. I'm getting a big rabbit hole of like, I said this and I disagree.
I think there's a lot. What I think my point is, I was surprised there aren't more what I would consider top tier. But maybe there's a lot more of that kind of mid-tier. Either way, I want to go back and watch a whole load of 90s action movies that I've never seen before or that I don't remember. I want to rewatch Hard Rain.
I've not seen it.
I remember that being great, and I've not seen it in years and years. Stuff like that. Breakdown.
Breakdown's great. Kurt Russell. That's fucking tense as fuck.
That's not an action movie, that's a thriller, I suppose.
It's a thriller. But yeah, the 90s, though, with thrillers, damn. They're fucking amazing.
But especially like Hard Rain's, that's a thriller and an action movie. I think that's where they kind of found a sweet spot with combining the two. Die Hard's, Lethal Weapons, they.
Yeah. I mean, all I want is another Harrison Ford film where one, he's lost his wife, or he's been blamed for her death, because he's done about 4 of those, and we need one more before he retires. Where's my wife? Well,
we need a sequel to this as well, so maybe they can be combined somehow.
Yeah, what's going on with that? Because this is Stallone again, just grasping onto IPs from his past. There's been this has been like what nearly 40 years, or whatever, right? Since this not 40 years, over 30.
Well,
years.
over 30. So,
well over 30 years, and they get plenty of opportunities to do a sequel. Now suddenly, let's do a sequel. It's like when everyone's way too old, and I think the director said, his daughter is going to become. His idea was like the daughter will be Meryl Streep, Stallone's daughter. And now she's the leader, taking over Nigel Hawthorne's society.
Has anyone spoken to Meryl Streep about this?
No, don't think so. I think it's just his idea, but he's not involved, I don't think. And nor is Daniel Walters involved. So it's all, again, it's probably been written under Stallone's kind of like pushing it and writing it. Not him writing it, maybe creatively.
I don't mind if he's right. The guy can write. I've got no problem with him writing it.
I know, but he wrote Rambo 5, which is god awful.
Yeah, but one of the many movies that Jackie Chan refused to be in, opposite Sylvester Stallone, despite them being great friends, and Stallone trying to get him to be in every movie he ever made. He only offered him bad guy roles, or
yeah, because there is a photo of Jackie Chan on set of Demolition Man.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, there's a photo of Stallone and in the outfit, his police outfit.
He'd have been visiting the set, I assume, because they really were good mates. And yeah, it was Rocky 4. It was Rocky 4 you wanted him for. Rambo 4, not Rambo 5. But yeah, they wanted him to be in everything he's ever made. And he eventually, with the Expendables, started offering him good guy roles. But then, because that's the role Jet Li took in the end, was initially offered to Jackie Chan, as was his breakout role in Lethal Weapon 4, another Lethal Weapon mix, which, like this movie, Jackie didn't want to do because he had to play a villain.
I have this shot here where they're on the that was it, the bridge, sort of as it spins. There
was a lot cut out of this sequence, wasn't there? I believe the build up to being on that bridge went on for ages.
It's kind of weird, right? Because they go underground, and then it cuts to Wesley Snipes and his gang, and then they find him within 2 minutes. They just walk down a corridor, and they look below, and then you see Dennis Leary just waffling on, with Stallone kind of just sitting, looking back. But it's like there seems to be no like distance between where they were. So that implies the underground world is tiny.
Yeah.
Right?
And it does feel tiny to me. It feels like one hall and a couple of corridors. Yeah, according to the original daughter ideas, she was meant to be like a leader of this underground movement, wasn't she?
Was she? Oh, okay. Yeah. All I know is that the scene they had shot was going to feature after. I think it's like when he gives her the jumper and they're driving around, then they sort of look into finding her.
Is that around the time of the sex scene?
After
that, yeah. Yeah, because I've always tried to work out whether that sex scene is like because it's always framed as being the replacement for the daughter stuff, and I don't know whether it was because makes no sense at all. None of this makes any sense at all. This is not how lifts work. This is not how anything works.
But also, it's like a scene from Commando. This is where it's become a Joel Silver movie now. Yeah. A crazy car chase. Which one thing is like really, because they're setting it in the future. Okay, we can have a car chase around a city, so you have to shoot it at night because you can hide stuff. Like the fact that you're not shooting in the future. They're going to use locations you've seen before, which is this tunnel, which is in Terminator and Blade Runner, and Knuckle-based Transformers. It's been used a lot because of the tiling of the tunnel. It gives that great lighting. And then you see the next shot when they come out the tunnel. They're in the, I think this kind of like under like a bridge or something like that, where it's just again the same location they use in the Terminator when the police finally catch Carl Reese. That bit there, which is also used in like Mystery Men as a action scene. So then they go on to this like extended kind of motorway, which is all kind of fogged up, so you don't see much of the background. It's very, it's cleverly done to keep the notion that it is in the future. But Oh, little rear projection driving there. This stuff here, this location, recognise all this? This is all from the Terminator.
I feel like I recognise everything that's shot in LA, but I can never remember what it's from.
It's familiar locations, isn't it? Then it cuts onto this bit really quickly, so... This is quite cool. This is quite a cool stunt scene. It's
Yeah.
And when you see him jump onto it and the door's being pulled off, the Stallone stuntman, which you can kind of see in 4K, is holding on, but you can see his wire in the car holding him in place so he doesn't fall out.
There's a shot, we've just gone past it actually, where as soon as he lands on the roof of the car, I think there's a cut, and it's clearly the stuntman on the roof. Like, it's absolutely... This is one of the last of those movies where you were just used to seeing the stuntman. It was just part and parcel of an action movie.
Yeah, some are better jobs than others.
I'm sure there's plenty more after this, but I guess it's soon after this they started using digital face replacement as standard.
Yes.
And again, this is absolutely not Stallone. Now it is. But a moment ago, it absolutely wasn't. It's not quite as obvious as the Chuck Norris movies where they use his brother. Oh,
mate. Yeah. There's so many shots where it's clearly not Chuck. Like, especially in Delta Force. Love that. He's so close. I do chops him with his, like, elbow.
Ow. It's funny that how much he hated that hairstyle or the hair dye that he had to have, because it looks so cool.
Ran a bit of trivia, wasn't it? That he hated the haircut. Then you saw, was it Dennis Rodman?
Yeah, I don't know if it's true, but it's always been said that Dennis Rodman was inspired by Simon Phoenix.
Because he looks like him in bloody Double Team. You know what I mean? He looks like Simon Phoenix, right?
Yeah, he's just cosplaying as Wesley Snipes in Double Team, as I remember it.
He's cosplaying, yeah.
Oh, watch this as well. The sign falls apart, or blows up, I should say, before the car hits it.
Yeah, it does, by a slight fraction, yeah.
And then the whole A panel doesn't... the charge didn't go off in the A panel.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
obviously they didn't get
points
another.
that out. He goes, they didn't go off. But I was like, it's such a cool idea. Just you get filled up with polystyrene, right? But you won't... Natalie goes... My wife said, it's a great idea, but in execution, you won't be able to breathe. So you just die of suffocation, right?
Or also, like, when it goes off by accident or after a minor bump, you've written off your entire car, because how do you get all that out of it?
Exactly. But if that was like a real thing, you'd see so many YouTube videos, people doing this to sort of like make it work.
It is a really good idea, though. I mean, I'm almost certain that if we investigated, this will have come from some kind of theoretical concept GM had been working on that they shared with the filmmakers. It's too clever to have just been thought up on the scratch.
You'd be like, no need for seatbelts in the future. You'd be like, you've got this.
Is there another movie that I'm suddenly thinking of another movie that does the same thing now?
Really?
Presumably afterwards, but I can't remember. And of course, all of our principal characters happen to just be there.
Well, they did crash into the police station, though, didn't they?
Well, yeah, but there's like thousands of people working in that police station, and in the time it takes them to walk from the thing to the thing, everyone from inside who matters has found their way out, all gathered.
Is Rob Schneider there? Rob Schneider seems to disappear quite quickly from the film,
That's a good
doesn't
point,
he?
actually.
I think he's only there for the sort of when
the setup stuff early on.
Yeah, but at the when he's trying to hack the machines and stuff, Simon Phoenix is now observing from the security.
No, you're right. Actually, I've always assumed it's just like it's Zachary Lamb and all the other guys, but it's actually just Chief Earl, isn't it? And then just generic troopers.
Maybe it's scheduling conflict, isn't it? You know, probably. Or he didn't need to have him there. You know, simple as that. I just love her a little, getting things wrong.
Yeah.
We go blow him, blow the guy away. She's like, whatever. She's like,
So did you know anything about the accusations of plagiarism that this movie faced from that Hungarian writer?
No, I never caught wind of that.
It was in Empire magazine, probably like late 90s, and it all just went away. And I did look it up, and I couldn't find any sign that anything ever happened. But there was a Hungarian author reckoned that he wrote this exact story as a book, and it was around the time. I mean, there was a lot of this around the time because as the Iron Curtain fell, a lot of these Eastern Bloc sci-fi writers sort of found that their movies had been made in America, and they didn't. And well, allegedly, I don't know how many of them actually. But The Matrix was one. There was a huge.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff around The Matrix. Yeah.
I mean, because there isn't a single original idea anywhere in that entire franchise, it's obviously stood accusations of plagiarism from all kinds of different places.
If the Wachowskis had borrowed or been inspired by other ideas to formulate their Matrix script, which makes it work so well, is that come to sequels, they have to come up with their own ideas, hence why the sequels aren't very good.
Yeah.
And then everything else that the Wachowskis has made has been divided in terms of, critical praise and negative backlash. So, yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it, their career, that they were like, oh my God, they're going to reinvent Hollywood, and then what you saw, what they were given, is kind of like, I don't know, mixed results.
I think my friend and I think we're about the only two people who saw that film and were completely underwhelmed by it.
What, The Matrix?
Yeah.
Really? God. You were definitely a minority, matey.
I was a Yuen Wu-Ping superfan, so like the whole, oh look, people who aren't very good at kung fu are doing this amazing kung fu. Look at this choreography. I thought, well, yeah, I've been watching movies made by this guy for 20 years. Giving awkward white actors moves that they can't do doesn't make it better, makes it worse.
But what about the concept, though, the idea of The Matrix?
I thought it was utterly stupid. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. I've never been able to. Why is someone farming us for our electricity using a farming system that requires 1,000 times more electricity than we generate, even within the logic of the story, even within the logic? They don't say that. Like, they say something like, oh, the human being creates enough energy to light a light bulb, or something like that. And then you see this massive techno facility with swooping well, where's all the power for that coming from? None of it. It's just too stupid. If it didn't take itself so seriously, I'd be fine. But it takes itself entirely seriously and expects us to buy into all this stuff that is as ridiculous as this movie is.
Film was never sold, though. This film was never sold as a comedy. Like, I think that again, like, threw people.
No, but it's not. It doesn't take itself seriously, though.
No, it doesn't. No, that's. I mean, that's the beauty of it, right? But it's like, in terms of like the perception of Demolition Man, what it was like advertised at, because you got these two titans on the poster, like facing off, essentially like a wrestling poster, with Stallone and Snipes looking at each other and about to look like they're about to make out. But the film itself, like even the trailers and stuff, didn't really let on it was a kind of a comedy, and then people saw it like, oh, it's actually supposed to be funny, and I think that's like a hidden, a great thing they didn't spoil.
To be honest, it's you're only really kind of spoiling it for me now, because I wouldn't really have brought up comedy that much. It's only you talking about it that's kind of made me realise just how much of it there is. I've seen it so many times, and it washes over me. It hadn't really occurred to me that it is so comedic.
Okay, everyone's thought of this theory. How do the three seashells work? What was your own process of how they work?
They were clearly they don't, and clearly no one's ever had it, so there's no reason why it should be. I know that Stallone actually did come up with a theory that involved using them like chopsticks to pull shit out of your ass, which makes even less sense than there just not being an explanation.
It sounds graphically awful trying to pull that out.
There obviously has to be something supernatural about it. For it to make any sense. And the fact that they're seashells suggests salt water, great cleaning solution. The only thing that makes any sense to me, if you had to come up with a theory, is that there's some fantastical way in which managing three shells together creates a stream of salt water. I don't know. I've honestly never thought about it. But.
I think they should just... I mean, it's clearly a joke, but in the future, everyone would have Japanese-style toilets, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, why not? Why not? And that's kind of like a supernatural version of a Japanese toilet, yeah. I don't think the 3 seashells were in the original Russian novel that this rips off.
No, it wasn't the original script either. It's just like, I think there's a writer phoned up his friend and said, like, send me some mad gags about what stuff in the future. Well, how would they use a toilet? Oh no, my wife's got 3 seashells in her bathroom. Excellent.
No, right. Yeah, no, he literally he had the guy he rang up had a bowl of ornate seashells next to his toilet, and that's where the idea came from.
I'm always disappointed that Jesse Ventura, despite getting a big credit near the beginning, doesn't get to do anything in the film apart from shoot Nigel Hawthorne.
There was a fight scene filmed with Stallone, wasn't there, that they cut?
Oh, okay. Was that underground fight? And that's... I mean, you want a Jesse Ventura fight, right?
I mean, he's there. I'm still thinking about that Russian novelization before we move on from that completely. If this really is based on that Russian novel, which a lot of people seem to believe, I've not read it, I couldn't say. It's actually the novel that was used as the source material for Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker.
I've never seen Stalker.
Which is about the most serious sci-fi film you could ever hope to see.
But does that have shades of Demolition Man?
The idea that both those movies might be based on the same source material is hilarious to me.
But one of the original writers, Peter Lenkov, he hasn't written much, but he's written 2 TV movies. Universal Soldier.
Those 2 Canadian Unisol movies.
Wrote those.
God, the connections just never cease.
Yeah, man.
Wow. So, what was it? His idea to make Burt Reynolds do an Irish accent, or?
Oh man, I don't know, man. He didn't direct them. He wrote them, but yeah. Or when he wrote... he also wrote The Crow's Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, really?
Dear.
That's one of the worst films ever made.
Starring Mark Dacascos.
Wow.
So it's not the Ed Furlong one's the worst one. It's actually the Mark Dacascos one.
One of. It's a perfect downward spiral. But I think that's the third... Was that the third one?
Stairway to Heaven is from 1994.
No,
so yeah, that's the third one, yeah.
It's the third one, yeah.
Which came out really quick then, because The Crow, City of Angels... Oh no, maybe it's a second. It's a TV show. That's it, The Crow. What he wrote was a TV show version.
Oh, okay.
From 1998. Okay, so it's later on. Sorry, I'm getting confused here. He wrote the TV show with Mark Dacascos. Not a film.
That explains why I don't remember Mark Dacascos being in one of the Crow movies. I didn't even know there was that, I don't think. No, The Crow is always my go-to... Which movie franchise nosedived the hardest? It's either Jaws or The Crow.
Oh, definitely The Crow, because I'd happily watch Jaws too.
The Crow 4 is possibly even worse than Jaws 4, but I suppose you've got to say that Jaws is better than The Crow in the first place. But I'm not sure I'd go that. Yeah, no, I'd have to, as much as I love The Crow.
Yeah. But they're completely different movies. I wouldn't make any comparison to them.
Ollie, everything must be compared all the time. Everything has to be ranked.
No.
Order must be brought.
That's too autistic for me. I love that line though. He says about what was it at the beginning?
Good memory.
Yeah, good memory. Yeah.
This is freaking foreshadowing's going on here.
So good, isn't it?
This is delivery on foreshadowing. Because because that's not the only one, is it? Because that's when Spartan says, "Is it cold in here, or is it just me?" That isn't it. But there's also
that's foreshadowing what's going to happen later on. He's going to get
we also get payoff for the line that Simon Phoenix says at the beginning when he says something about I'd lose my head.
Lose my head, yeah. Man. Oh, that's very good writing.
See, it's like it's been written by a grown-up. This movie. Same guy who made Stalker wrote this in my mind. Someone else.
Written by a grown-up.
God, the editing just really needs to chill out a bit, doesn't it?
It's edited by Stuart Baird. He's the go-to guy for action of the 90s.
Repeated punches. They were dropping a whole bunch of frames in between each take.
This also has shades of what you see later on. Actually, what Judge Dredd would kind of copy.
To be honest, I remember almost nothing about Judge Dredd.
The Stallone Judge Dredd one, where the other guy's trying to make loads of Dredds, loads of copies of him.
I don't even remember the plot. I haven't seen that movie since the 90s.
Well.
And I think probably only once then. I really didn't like it.
Oh, you got it gets a lot of things wrong, but I enjoy it because of its kind of look and score. But there's a lot of similarities to this. Heads up.
And then for some reason it shatters on the third bounce. Second bounce.
It's like the ending of Batman Forever.
It really is, isn't it? I was just thinking
and the music
that
as well. Say composer. Sounds the same to me.
Stallone just storming through the bar.
I love how he smashes through the frozen fence. It's great. Like, I love Stallone's face though, and he's like, oh, that's a very awful, very flat digital effect there.
Is that a miniature?
No, it's they've comped in a digital explosion which looks like flat as hell, but the building itself is actually a prison.
Was that a real full size bit? Well, we can see it in the background there. That's not a miniature or?
No, they just shot the top of it as a plate.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah. The plate is what looks like a miniature to me.
I mean, it might have been a miniature. They did an effect, but I think
it was really lacking detail. But that might just be the architecture. And as ever, all the key players are just standing around. Right, John Spartan. You define what the future's going to be.
But everyone should be standing around and asking where John Spartan is.
I mean, Associate Bob was in on all of it, right?
He should be going to jail.
So, I mean, we should be dead, by all reckoning, really.
But also, John Spartan had the worst lawyer ever.
Yes, that's the other huge plot hole in this.
He got frozen. It's like, he didn't purposely kill these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is no way in which the police officer would have been held responsible for the deaths of those hostages. It's impossible to, apart from the fact that they used technology to ascertain that there were no heat signatures there. So they've got a record of that. Never mind the fact that, forensic evidence would have been able to demonstrate how long they'd been dead for, even after an explosion.
Maybe he represented himself and just shouted, "I am the law."
Or maybe it was, or maybe Kurt Russell represented him like he kind of did in Tango and Cash. He just got really angry and shouted about how fucking shit it all is.
And we got a song at the end by Sting, which it's not a great song. Demolition Man.
Yeah, it's like a re-recording, I think, isn't it, of an old police. I don't know the original song.
Yeah.
But that I'm just looking at my my list of potential problems, and it's basically the fact that he gets locked up in the first place, and then the fact that even 60-year-olds have no memory of the world before 36 years ago.
Yeah, maybe it's just been so sort of reprogrammed that they don't really have any concept of that anymore.
No, it's just shit writing. Come on.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's. I suppose you got to battle with the runtime. You got to provide enough action to keep people entertained, and you've got to, for this world to work, you've got to provide enough foundation to get away with what they're trying to tell you and what they're trying to sell with this concept. But where in years later, decades later, where everyone requires a decent amount of law for this thing to work, if this came out now, people would be like, oh, this and this and that, like we're doing now. Like, oh, some of the shortcomings of this future and how it all actually works, even outside of San Angeles, is not particularly well explained.
I think they wanted to go all in on the world they'd created and to to explain how it interacts with the outside world would have compromised that world. In the same way that, like, they want all the people in it to be these kind of weird not androgynous, but these kind of these almost childlike, naive,
it's a kind of asexual
people.
Kind of characters,
Yeah. But once you start adding in, like, once you establish that the older characters aren't actually like that, and why would they be? They grew up in our times. They would be throwbacks to the past. People don't immediately change just because culture and society changes. So if you've got people like Zachary Lamb explaining what a 187 is, maybe he seems less part of that world. That world seems more diluted. I don't know. But like I say, it really would have made more sense if they'd said it further in the future.
Yeah, 2032. I mean, even then, but even like 1993 though, 2032 felt so far away. Like anything in the year 2000 still felt like the future, right?
It needs that. It needs to be severed. It needs a cultural and social severing from today. Just like post-apocalypse movies, it's really important when you choose to set them, depending on whether you want to have remnants of society, whether you want a completely new species almost to have developed, a completely new social order and culture to have developed. If you're going to do that, you have to set it further in the future, I think. But at least, it's a cool future, and I like that it's relatable. It only becomes a problem because of those reasons I give, and also it very nearly was completely compromised anyway, because the original script didn't have any scene set in the present day, in the 90s. It originally was set entirely in the future, which would have been a terrible idea, I think.
Yeah, well, that was the one random bit note that Fred Decker had suggested, but then doing the commentary, Daniel Waters doesn't make any mention of that, and is already kind of there, that sort of precursor sequence. So I don't know the Fred Decker's involvement in the timeline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To say, he may have interjected with some of that, and then someone else came on and did another rewrite. Because after Daniel Waters, someone else came in and just refined some of the gags. So
Yeah. I can't remember now who is supposed to have come up with that idea, but it is framed in a reasonably detailed way, like that. And because apparently the guy's line was, you can't, if you don't show Kansas, then Oz is less impressive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
which makes a lot of sense. And a detail like that line makes me think maybe it was more likely to have happened that way, but who knows.
Well, again, still a fantastic film. It's on my top 10 list of great 90s action movies. Love it to this day. Never get tired of it. Has a few little quirks in it that, don't make it perfect, but
none of them ruin or damage, and none of them compromise anything.
No, exactly, yeah. The entertainment is still solid throughout. Well, folks, that's the end of the commentary. Hope you enjoyed it. Me and Rob will be back with some more very soon. Take care, and goodbye.
Goodbye.